So to continue on from the overview, let's have a look at one of the most basic parts of Unity, and that is the game object, which can be accessed from the game object menu. Firstly, we'll have a look straight away at the 3D object game object. The main ones you'll be using most of the time are the cube, sphere, capsule, cylinder, plane, and that's about it, and terrain. Now, these are kind of like basic building blocks from, say, if you're familiar with Lego, and you'll also be familiar with Lego that you can get some rather cool shapes and that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing that you would build outside of Unity, say in Autodesk 3ds Max. So let's start with a very basic environment, and we'll go and drop down a plane, which will act as our ground. Now at the moment we can't see that, so if we just double click on the plane, and let's just click on Y from the gizmo, and we can see a view above. Now if we go over to the transform section of the inspector, we'll see that the numbers are all sort of weird numbers, and we don't really want that. We want it to be nice and central, so we choose the little wheel here and we go reset. That'll reset the position, the rotation and the scale. The position and rotation will all be set to 0 and the scale will be to 1. Unity uses units. You could think of them as perhaps meters. They're not specifically any kind of unit, but generally speaking you might sort of think of them as meters. So let's use a little bit of fancy maneuvering and just use that, so we can kind of get a bit of a perspective feel of it. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to drop another game object, and we're going to drop a sphere, which is the round ball. Now you can see if we drop down below, you can see the ball is sitting nicely on top of the surface. Okay. If we go here and we go reset, what that does is it pops that down halfway. Just get this zoomed in so you can see that that is halfway. Now that's typically how Unity will drop things on a surface. It'll put it exactly around the central axis. So what we want to do is pop that up. Now we know that the scale is 1 and we know that half of the ball is missing. So if we position, well, let's just select this. We know that the green is the Y, so we want to move it up the Y axis 0.5. If we hit tab, that moves it up there. So it's exactly sitting above the plane. Okay, let's do something else. Let's drop another cube, another game object. Now this time it's going to be a cube, and we'll reset that again. So we always reset objects, and this time instead of pulling it up or setting it via the transform, I hold the control key and we're going to lift it up. Okay, so it sort of moves up at increments. Okay, so that's moving up at 1 increment. So it's going to sit up in the air. We'll leave it sitting up in the air. We're going to scale this. Now let's scale this, say 10. Okay, and we'll just zip around to the y-axis and move it across somewhat. So we'll just see where it's at the edge. this, move it over to roughly the edge, and that's about minus 4.3. And we know it's getting close to 5, so let's change it to -5. And let's drop that down to 0.5. So we know it's sitting exactly on top of that surface. And actually we'll make that -4.5 because it moves it in a bit. What we want to do is we're going to swing this around a bit more. And what we're going to do is rotate this around the x-axis so it becomes a bit of a slope. Because what we're going to do is we're going to be making a bit of a ball run or a marble run. So we'll select the x-axis and we'll just rotate that just a bit slightly. I'm just going to rotate it that way. Don't need it that much. There we go. Let's go back to this. We'll grab the ball and we'll move that over the top and over to here and just set that on there. Doesn't have to set exactly. We'll swing that round. Now if we have a look where the camera is looking from the other direction, so the ball should roll towards us, so you would think. But if we hit play, nothing's going to happen because actually what we have are 3 objects and they are fixed in space and time. Now in one of the next tutorials you'll see how we can actually get that ball to move. But what I want you to do in the meantime is add some more of these cubes and stretch them out. See if you can have the ball lined up, well at least the angle of each of these blocks lined up so that if the ball did run, it would move down, 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 and down. And so you have yourself a bit of a marble run. One of the things I do like to do is make sure that we have things labelled properly. So we're going to call this marble, we call the plane the ground, and we'll call this part 1. And what I'm going to do is get a create game object, it's an empty one, and I'm going to make this as a marble run. And then I'm going to grab the ground and I'll put that there. And I'm going to grab part 1 and I'm going to grab that and put that there. So then all those parts are part of the marble run, and there's the marble as separate. So what I'd like you to do is continue on with this, but instead of just having the one slope here with the ball, I want you to have 1, 2, 3, and a 4th one over here. So the ball or the marble runs down this slope, down that slope, down that slope, and down this slope. Also pop some boundaries around the outside. I've made these sort of like twice the height, or 2, I've scaled them to 2, and then the thickness I've scaled them to a 1/4. And see if you can get the ball just to run down the outside. And if you don't have to stop there, you can make your own little marble run, do whatever you like. You put some steps in there if you like. See how you go. And the next Unity tutorial, we will look at some assets and how to make things look different using colors and textures.